You are watching a film. A character turns to the camera, opens their mouth, and says a line. You hear it clearly right there, coming from the face. But the voice reaching your ears may have been recorded in a small padded room months after the camera stopped rolling. Sometimes by a person who was never on that set at all. Most of the time it works. You never notice. And then, occasionally, something feels loose. The voice is close, but not quite fastened to the face. Why? Start with the simplest case, where nothing has been translated at all. A surprising amount of the dialogue in the films you love was never actually recorded on set. It was redone afterward in a process called ADR, automated dialogue replacement, also known as looping. On location, sound is fragile. A plane passes overhead. Wind buffets the microphone. A truck idles 2 streets away, or a costume rustles at the wrong moment. When the audio is ruined, the actor is brought into a studio, shown their own performance on a short loop, and asked to speak the line again in perfect time with their own moving lips. Here is the first problem. That studio is silent and dry. The real scene had walls, open air, distance, a ceiling, surfaces that bounced the sound around before it reached the microphone. So engineers have to rebuild that space artificially, adding reverberation and background ambience until the clean studio voice sounds like it belongs in the room. When they get it slightly wrong, the voice sits on top of the picture instead of inside it. Then there is the performance. In the booth, the actor is standing still, warm, calm, well-rested. On set, they may have been running, or crying, or freezing in the rain. They are now imitating their own earlier emotion from memory. Usually they nail it. Sometimes you can hear the seam. Now the harder version, foreign language dubbing, where the voice is not just re-recorded but replaced entirely. A different actor in a different country speaking a different language. And here the translator faces a strange constraint. The words cannot only be accurate, they have to fit the mouth. Think about the sounds your lips make. To say P, B, or M, you must press your lips together and briefly seal them shut. These are bilabial sounds, and they are visible. If the actor on screen clearly closes their lips but the dubbed word keeps their mouth open, your eye catches the contradiction instantly, even from across the room. So translators become puzzle solvers, choosing words as much for their shape and length as for their meaning, hunting for a phrase that means roughly the right thing and closes the lips at the right instant. Why does a small mismatch bother you so much? Because your brain does not treat sight and sound as separate channels. In 1976, a researcher named Harry McGurk demonstrated something unsettling. Film a mouth saying one syllable, play the sound of a different syllable over it, and most people hear a third sound that was never spoken, a blend of what they saw and what they heard. You cannot switch it off. Even knowing the trick, your eyes keep editing your ears. So when a dubbed voice and a moving mouth disagree, you feel the wrongness before you can name it. This is why some countries have entire industries built around getting it right. In Germany, Italy, Spain, and France, dubbing is not an afterthought, but a craft with its own stars, voice actors who become the permanent German or Italian voice of a Hollywood face, following that one actor from film to film for decades. Italian cinema took it furthest. For much of the 20th century, Italian films were shot without recording sound at all, and every voice, even in the original Italian, was added later in a studio. The director Federico Fellini worked this way by choice, treating the voice as something to be painted on afterward, like color. So the strangeness you occasionally feel is not a mistake you are imagining. It is your perception system doing exactly what it evolved to do, checking, constantly, that the voice you hear is really coming from the face you see. A human face and a human voice are supposed to be one thing. When a film pulls them slightly apart, some ancient part of you leans in and quietly says, those two do not quite belong together. The remarkable part is how rarely you notice. A different person, a different room, a different month, stitched onto a face so well that your suspicious, sound-checking brain waves it through. Now you know.